Hey everybody, welcome back. It's week 2. It's time to get started. I will apologize in advance in case the TV makes extra noise. I am dog and house sitting this weekend for a friend, and honestly, I cannot figure out how to turn the TV down. It's that simple. Um, different remotes. It's such a strange thing. Anyway, maybe one of us will tackle TV remotes for one of the tech writing projects that's coming up. Who knows? Maybe. Anyway, we're gonna get going this week with the experience and interest inventory. And one of the reasons I have you do this assignment, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that, and I mentioned this last week, you are able to tackle really any subject matter for your technical writing documents and your formal analytical report. And those things can actually be connected in some way. So taking stock of where you have been, where you are now, and where you're going in terms of work and school and life in general is a great way to kind of do some pre-writing for some of the bigger assignments that are coming up. And so that's the biggest reason why we do the experience and interest inventory. The other one is that it gives us a chance to practice some of the Word document skills that you're going to need as you go through the course. So we are going to be using Word's tools or whatever word processing program you're using. I highly recommend using Word. It really is the standard. You do have free access to Office 365. So even if you do not have Word already loaded on your computer, you can certainly access it for free. Now, Google Docs will do a lot of the same things, and so will things like Pages and all of that stuff. But your online classes will always expect you to turn things in Word format. Some faculty like PDFs, but most faculty want you to turn documents in Word format because that way they can annotate them for you as they're giving you feedback. So I don't usually do physical annotation. I usually give you audio feedback. But still, we're going to turn things in Word and we're going to use Word to its fullest capacity. And so some of the stuff I will show you today will help you with that. This first effort is not a do or die kind of thing, but as we go through the rest of the semester, you're going to be expected to do headings and subheadings and tables of contents and proper use of photos and visuals and things of that nature. So it's a good idea to get started now. So let's go ahead and share. We're going to share the screen with both the class and the Word document. But right now the Word document's kind of blank. It's just a base for us. So let's take a look first at the calendar. In week 2, introduction to report writing, which of course is what we was just talking about. Review of APA format and documentation. And you're going to turn in the experience and interest inventory. So in this week's module, you will find in the learning materials, the overview and learning materials, that you have a link to the textbook. You're going to be reading the technical writing aspect. This is something because what we're doing this week isn't technical writing per se, but it is report writing. So this will also kind of set us up for things to coming up. Mini lesson on how to set up an APA Word document. I am going to show you some things here, but that's a much more in-depth one. If you do need to get your free Office 365, you can do so over in the left-hand column. How to use the library in APA. There's a link there. A lesson. Now, I will say this lesson was made for a different school, but it is on documenting sources in APA format. So I thought I don't really want to reinvent the wheel. So check that out. I've got a link to the library's citation center where you can find APA templates and all the information. And then, of course, it will be time for the assignments. Let's look at the assignment. the experience and interest inventory. So in ENC 2210, we'll be focusing on writing for both technical and professional purposes. Part of getting prepared for that is to put some thought into where you've been and where you're going. So in this report, you will share your past, present, and future in terms of education, work, and other interests. This is an APA formatted report. So you will have a cover page, you will have the body, and you will have a references page because there is some research that is required in this. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm just writing about myself. Why do I need to research it? And I'll quote probably your mother and say, because I told you so. Um, but you're gonna be looking for visuals that you might want to share. You have to cite visuals just like you would any information that you get from resources. You're also going to do some research on potential future employers and or educational institutions. And so that research has to be cited. Okay, so now you won't have as much research in your past probably and your present, but you will have it in the future part for sure. In the past, you want to cover your educational history and your work history. Now, I realize, and it happens every time I teach this class, I have people like, I don't have any work positions. I understand that. Then put that down. But I do want you to think about things that you have done that showcase work-related skills, even if it was not a paid position, or even if you only babysat or mowed lawns in the summers, or whatever the case may be. Anything that you have done that would showcase work-related skills, include it. Okay. So this is like a super resume. Now, you will never put all of this information on your resume, and we're going to write a resume at the end of the course. Not all of this is going to end up on your resume, but this is a good way to save all of the things that you have done, all the relevant dates, all the relevant names, any relevant addresses if you want to include them, whatever the case may be. And then you'll be able to pull from this information when you write cover letters and resumes. So past is exactly what it sounds like. For most of you, that's going to mean secondary education, and any other higher education institution that you've been to aside from Lake Sumter. I want you to put Lake Sumter in the current, although I know some of you are already in universities elsewhere, that would go in current as well. But if you've taken classes at another school, put that in the past, whatever the case may be. Okay. If you have questions and you don't know where to put something, give me an email or give me an inbox and I'll be happy to help you with that. So the present is going to be the same thing. Educational present, definitely Lake Sumter, but of course, if you're already enrolled at a different school as well, feel free to include that. Include relevant classes, any campus organizations that you've been involved in or are involved in, what degree or certificate you are pursuing, and when you expect to finish. Same thing with work. Some of you are not currently working. That is certainly okay. But again, are you doing anything now that would showcase your skills, such as being a part of a campus organization? Maybe you have a leadership position in a campus organization, or you volunteer, or you do things at your church, like whatever. Anything that is currently happening that's going to showcase that information. Now, I have termed this volunteer or non-paid positions, but you can also include things that you just consider hobbies. That's certainly okay too. I would focus on that more in the present, but if there's something that you did in your past that you want to include, that you think you might pursue as a topic for our reports coming up, feel free to include that as well. I expect these to look kind of like a resume. Now, like I said, they're going to be much longer than a resume. They're going to have a lot more details on them than a resume would. And you can use narrative if you want to write out, I started going to camp, being a camp counselor in da da da. Like you can include paragraphs full of information, but I do want this to be organized like a report. So we're going to use headings and subheadings, and we're going to use dates and all that stuff. And that would never be written out in a paragraph form. So a lot of this is going to look like a resume would look. Now, for the future, uh, I can't think of a better way to say it. So, what do you want to be when you grow up? I know many of you are already grown up, and even if you are currently dual enrolled, you're still considered a grown up in the eyes of Lake Center State College. So you are a grown up, but what do you want to do in the future? Do you plan to pursue formal education? And if you do, I want you to research and give details on possible places you could pursue these further goals. Now, I understand that a lot of you have a very specific plan. I want to go to UCF or I want to go to UF. I understand that's your plan, but I want you to research it anyway. And I want you to research more than one educational institution. One of the things that I learned in, not until I was in graduate school, but because I was one of the first people in my family to go to college, I never really knew, different schools have different strengths, different programs are more highly regarded, whatever the case may be. So if you plan on pursuing future education, I want to see research on at least a couple of places that you might pursue that. Okay. Same thing with employers. Imagine that you have completed your education and are ready to pursue employment in your field. Research employers for which you would like to work. Now, this could also conceivably mean running your own business. And if so, you could research how to start a business. There's lots of possibilities there. But I really want to see at least 2 or 3 places that you think you might go to work in whatever field you're pursuing. And it doesn't have to be something that you could do now. This could be something way down in the future. If you're already planning, you've got to go to graduate school after you finish your bachelor's degree, by all means, make it something long term. But this is going to give you practice in researching employers, which is what you will do when we get to the resume and cover letter. And it's also just good practice. So 2 things that you have to research for sure, in addition to any visuals that you might want to incorporate, would be future education and future employment. Okay. Now, I do have part 4 for other interests. And this is where I really think, let yourself go crazy, showcase hobbies and interests. Anything that you think you might want to learn more about, give an overview. What experience do you have if you already have any? And then goals and plans for future participation. Like I said, this could become your formal analytical report over something that's related to your job. Um, because it might be more immediate to you, especially if you're planning on going to graduate school. So keep that in mind. Okay. Let's look at the sample. Okay. So this document is in APA format already. We have the header. The only thing that goes in the APA header now is a page number. So if you've used APA in the past and you have a version that has other words in the header, throw it out and start new. Get the newest template from the library or use my sample, whatever you want to do, but do not have the old version. Your title goes at the top-ish, towards the top of the first page in bold. You have one double space in between, one extra double space in between, and then you have your full name on the second line, English Department, Lake Center State College on the third line. Please spell Lake Sumter State College correctly. I got so frustrated a few semesters ago because I told the same person in all the assignments that this is the name of our college, and they just refused to ever change it. So use my sample. It's already spelled correctly. Class goes next. My name goes next. Again, get my name right. It's helpful. And then the date. Now, this date will change. I would put the due date on it. Right now, I'm just using the date that I'm creating this. Then we have the stuff. Now, I'm going to show you how to create a table of contents using headings and subheadings. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I'm going to leave this. So let's say this is my brilliant introduction. Okay. Now let's come down here and let's say, okay, our first heading is going to be past. You want to use the styles. So heading 1 is always the highest heading, and we're going to call this past. Below that, we're going to have heading 2, and we're going to have education. Now, this is where you want to do this in report form. You can use bullets, you can set it up however you want to set it up, but you don't want to just write out, I went to such and such high school from such and such, such and such. So we're going to put, I'm going to show you a way to make this look cool across the whole thing. So I'm going to put my actual high school name. Why not? It was in spring. Oh, and I'm going to change this to single spacing. You probably want a single space more than you double space in our assignments. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and make this single spaced as well, because a lot of things will take up a lot of room if we don't do that. Now, granted, we're not printing it, so I mean, it's fine if you don't want to do that, but single space works the best for this. Although, why is that still double space? That's gonna make me mad. We're gonna, oh, maybe it's got the line spacing. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we want this to be 0. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, so that was in Springfield, Missouri. And that was a long, long time ago. I'm going to be brutally honest, not 1882. Okay, it wasn't quite that long ago. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then I mostly took college prep classes, student government, marching band, orchestra, whatever. Okay. So here's my little trick that I want to show you. So we want these 3 things to be spread across the page, because this is the same thing we're going to do when we create our resumes. So I am going to go to layout and I am going to choose 3 columns. I'm going to double click on this middle one and I'm going to center that one, and I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to put that one on the right hand margin. Now, these I'm going to bullet. Whatever we wanted to put, I could bullet those. You can set it up however you want to, but anyway. Okay. Now, I'm going to include my college because that was also a very long time ago. I'm going to drop one line. Oh, is this still? Oh, it's going to irritate me if this doesn't change. We want this to be 0 and double. I mean, single. I hate Word some days. I love it, but I also hate it. All right, so Drury College. It's now Drury University. Oh, I don't want this to be bold. I'll fix you. Springfield, Missouri. In 1886 to 1990. Okay. English and political science, CTA sorority, and orchestra, music scholarship, whatever. Okay. Whatever details you want to include. And we're going to do the exact same. Oh, yeah, we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to highlight those 3 columns. And we're going to, again, double click this and make it centered. And you'll see when I include more than one, you'll see the reason why we want to line them up like this is because then everything lines up on the page, which is kind of cool. We're going to bullet those. I would also include BA in English. There we go. So there's my education. I would do the same thing with the work history. So that's a heading 2 because we're still in the past. Work history. Now, the other thing that you can do in this section, if you would like to, is to include some visuals. Um, one of my favorite things about my work history was that, and this is a real throwback, I worked at our local Kmart for many years before it's still doing the changing. Oh, this is going to drive me insane. Single, remove space. Okay, there we go. Springfield, Missouri. And that was 1992. No, 1988, sorry, to 1992. There we go. Okay. Sales associate, whatever. Employee of the month. I was a bunch of times. It was so good. Anyway, now this is such ancient history. I probably wouldn't really do this if I was doing this, but I want to show you kind of some of the things you could include. So we're going to do the exact same thing with the layout. We're going to make it 3. We're going to center this one and put this one over on the right. All right. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bullet these. And I'm going to include a visual. So we're going to look for a picture. We're going to look online because I do not have any pictures of Kmart just laying around, unfortunately. So we're going to search for online pictures, and I am literally going to search for Kmart. Look, it's Kmart. How exciting is that? Um, these are so classic. I love it. Okay. That's a J.C. Penney. There we go. This one looks very much like the one I worked at. So we're going to take this one. We're going to use the insert menu. And it's already got the attribution here. So if you're using this, it's already done for you. You will not have to do it. But if you use your own photo or whatever, you will put a caption under it that shows where you got it from. And I am going to need to put this on my reference page. So I'm going to find this and I'm going to share, I'm going to put that in Scribber and see what it gives me for the citation. I would imagine these are all going to come back the same for these that are all found by the tools within Word, but you may find things on different websites. There we go. Copy to clipboard. So I'm going to put this on my reference page. Now, I've already got a reference page started, so I'm going to put this, I'm going to put it after the last one, and then I might need to sort it. So let's put the paste in with match formatting. Oh, it didn't do it. My computer does not love me today, and that is okay. We're going to do double spacing for these. It did keep well, it kept the indent, but I had to put the first line back on the regular page. This is going to move because it's going to be in alphabetical order. So I'm going to copy. Let's put it up here. You can use Word to sort things, and I have that information in a lot of places. So if you watch some of my instructional videos, you will see that. But in the meantime, this is good. Okay. I've attributed the source. I've got the information. Now, I will do the same thing with the next one would be heading 1, and it will be present. And then I will do a heading 2. Oh, and if I did have volunteer or in unpaid positions, I could put those too. If you do have work history though, you probably don't need to. It's fine. But if you do have like church related things or stuff that you want to include, do include that section. In fact, let me go ahead and put the heading so that we could use it. So I'm going to put heading 3, volunteer, non-paid. There we go. So you'll see what it looks like. So the present is going to have the same subheadings. We're going to have heading 2 will be education. Heading, we'll have the information. Then heading 3 or heading 2 will be work. And we'll have the information. And then let's do volunteer, paid position. Okay. Unpaid, sorry. Now, below that, you're going to have the next heading would be future. And oops, except that's a heading 1, sorry. Future. And then we're going to have education. We're going to put our research, which is going to be cited. And we're going to have work, which is going to be cited. And then we're going to have interests, other interests. And then if you want to have more than one, I would use each one as a heading. So I'm going to say, okay, one of my current interests is running. So I'm going to put information about that. Another interest that I have is glass blowing because we did some glass blowing last year at an event and now we all want to do more glass blowing. And let's put one more just for good measure. Skydiving. I probably won't really do it because I think I would break my leg, but I'm interested in it. So let me do some research on it, share the information. Okay. The reason I wanted to put all the headings in, and I am going to share this document with you, is because we are going to put a table of contents in. Now, Word will do this for you if you have used headings and subheadings. If you haven't, it won't do it. And that's going to be points off down the road. It's not going to be points off on this, but it is something I want to see you practicing and trying. So we're going to go to, I believe it's references. It is table of contents. And I'm just going to use the first one because quite frankly, it doesn't really matter. And then this would then go on the next page. So we're going to insert a page break. Okay. So there you go. Look at how pretty that is. Now, as you add to this, all you have to do is update this before you turn it in, and it will update all the page numbers. So if you end up adding a whole bunch of stuff, you're still going to be able to utilize the same thing, but it won't do it until you have the headings and subheadings in there. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to share it with you. So there's no excuse not to do it. Okay. Good luck and Godspeed. Enjoy this assignment. I have a lot of fun reading these, so I'm looking forward to them, even if you're even if you're not. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. I will see you next week. Everybody take care. And like I said, if you have problems along the way, please do let me know. I'm happy to help.